I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend their unity and uphold their honor and glory. So help me God. Almighty God, Creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech Thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with Thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Honorable colleagues, I have examined and approved the second votes and proceedings of Thursday, 13 February 2025. It's my pleasure to recognize the presence of students from Chalcedony Prime School. Students of Chalcedony, please can you rise for recognition? Honorable members, can we please appreciate their presence here? Please sit down. We also have students from Nigeria Air Force Officers' Wives Association, NAFOA Little Angels, who are coming all the way from Crèche, Nursery, and Primary School, NAF Base, Asokoro. Please, can you rise up for recognition? Honorable colleagues, please, can we appreciate their presence? Sit down, please. The last but not the least are students coming from Sky Heights Academy, coming all the way from Lube, Abuja. Please, can you rise for recognition? You're welcome. Please sit down. Honorable colleagues, last week, Thursday, when we were announcing new committee leadership, we erroneously omitted the name of Honorable Ifeolua Ehindero, member representing Akoko North, East, and West, as the new chairman of the Committee on Students' Loan, Scholarship and Higher Education, and Financing. He succeeds our leader, Honorable Isiaka Nasuru Adeboyega, who has been assigned as the chairman of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Development, for a record. On a sad note, honorable colleagues, I have a message coming from Honorable Engineer Olatunji Akinosi, and his message is on the passing away of late Senator Ayodeji Otebola, and his message reads as follows. I hereby forward a notice of the demise of late Senator Ayodeji Otebola, who died at the age of 91 years, and he is from Ogun State. Thank you, yours sincerely, Honorable Engineer Olatunji Akinosi. We also have another message coming from Right Honorable Aminu Sani Jaji. He is also in respect of notification of the death of our former member, Honorable Sani Umar Dangaladima, and the message reads as follows. I'm deeply sorry to hear about the passing of Honorable Sani Umar Dangaladima. His contribution as a member of parliament in both the 7th and the 9th assemblies will always be remembered. May Allah grant him eternal peace and forgiveness, and may his family find the strength to bear this great loss. Amen. In honor of his memory, let us observe a minute silence and offer a prayer for the repose of his soul. Thanks and regards, signed Right Honorable Aminu Sani Jaji. So, honorable colleagues, shall we rise in honor of these two great members of the National Assembly? May their soul rest in peace. Petitions? Any member with a petition? Let me clear with Honorable Oke. Honorable Oke, not around. Any member with petition, please? Is it Honorable Matthew? Please go ahead.
Thank you, our amiable Speaker. My honorable colleagues, good morning. My name is Honorable Attorney Matthew Nwogu. I speak for the people of Abombise, Ngopala Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from Ohiri and partners who are petitioning against the Federal Ministry of Aviation, the Minister of Aviation, the Federal Housing and Urban Development, Federal and the Managing Director, FAN. They are petitioning against refusal to pay for compensation to landowners in respect of remaining part of land compulsorily acquired for the development of Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, Imo State. Mr. Speaker, with your leave and leave of the House, may I please present this petition?
Please go ahead. Any more petitions? Dr. Patrick.
Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, esteemed colleagues, my name is Dr. Patrick Umar. I represent the entire people of Ikorekpene, Esenudum, Oboroka Federal Constituency. The Speaker, I'm a proud son of Akwa Ibom State. I have a petition authored by Sir Okwong Ekam, Senior Assistant Registrar, Federal University, Otuoke, on the title, Urgent Appeal for Assistance requesting IPPIS to release minimum wage arrears for 74 staff members of Federal University, Otuoke. I crave the indulgence of the Right Honorable Speaker to lay this petition before the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please go ahead. Any more petitions? No more? The two petitions are referred to the Committee on Public Petitions for further legislative action. Honorable colleagues, it's my pleasure and privilege to invite Right Honorable Abdullahi Ibrahim Ali Halims, who has a motion he considers of urgent public importance, to move.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Abdullah Ibrahim Ali Halims. I am from Kogi State, and I represent the very wonderful people of Angpa Omalola Federal Constituency. I rise this morning to move this very, very important and urgent motion on the need for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to restore suppressed 6 state assembly constituencies in Kogi East Senatorial District of Kogi State. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder to the first leg of the motion? You must be a co-guide, and you must belong to the kingdom of the white lion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Danladi Suleiman Agwe, member representing the good and very fantastic people of Lokoja, Kogi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kogi State. I hereby second the motion ably moved by our leader, the Deputy Majority Leader of the 10th Assembly, Honorable Halims. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Second leg of the motion. Honorable, is it Ginger? Honorable Ginger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, very distinguished colleagues. My name is Ginger Obinna Onsibe. I represent the people of Isialangwa North, Isialangwa South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am an Ngwa man from Abia State. I rise to second the second leg of this motion to say that it's urgent enough to be had. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Honorable Halims, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Abdullah Ibrahim Ali Halims, again is my name. I'm from Kogi State, and I represent the very wonderful people of Angpa Omalola Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, the urgent need for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to restore suppressed 6 state assembly constituencies in Kogi East Senatorial District of Kogi State. Recall that build up to the Fourth Republic, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in 1996 restored delineated state constituencies across the country, preparatory to the 1999 general elections. Notes that 6 states House of Assembly constituencies in Kogi East Senatorial District were suppressed during the exercise, contrary to the provision of Section 91 and 112 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The suppressed state constituencies are 1. Dekina Town and District Constituency. 2. Enjema Constituency. C. Ife/Ogodu Constituency. D. Igalogba Constituency. E. Ugwolawo Itobi Constituency. F. Basa Nge/Igbira Constituency. Also note that Kogi State, under the leadership of the then Governor Captain Idris Ichalawada and other major stakeholders from Kogi East Senatorial District, approached the Federal High Court, Lokoja, by way of originating summons on 8th of October 2014 in suit number FHC/LKG/CS/35/2014 for the restoration of the suppressed state constituencies by INEC. The court, in her wisdom, gave judgment on the 24th day of February 2015 in favor of the plaintiff for the restoration of the suppressed State House of Assembly constituencies in Kogi East Senatorial District. Copy of judgment attached. The House resolved the House Committee on INEC and Judiciary to intervene and prevail on INEC to restore the suppressed state assemblies, state constituencies in Kogi East Senatorial District. Number 2, the House Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Any seconder to this motion? Any seconder? Honorable Stanley.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, the Ian Zanzao. I am Honorable Adedeji Stanley Olajide, member representing Ibadan Northwest Southwest Federal Constituency of Oyo State. I rise to second the matter of urgent public importance ably moved by the leader. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Electoral Matters for further legislative action. The next motion is coming from Honorable Nnamdi Ezechi. If Honorable Nnamdi is around, please can you rise and move your motion?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Nnamdi Ezechi is my name, and I represent Ndo-Kwakwa and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8-5 to move this motion of urgent public importance titled Urgent Need for Government Intervention to Combat Production and Distribution of Fake and Expired Drugs following the discovery of counterfeit drug factory in Osisomangwa local government area of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Any seconder to the first leg? Honorable Hussaini Jallo.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm Hussaini Mohammed Jallo, representing Igebe Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. I hereby support the motion, first leg, ably moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Second leg of the motion. Honorable Ibikake.
The Right Honorable Speaker, the Epimobowe of Bayelsa State.
God bless you.
My dear colleagues, I rise this morning to second the second leg of the motion moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Paul, Honorable Nnamdi, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency, honorable colleagues. Nnamdi Ezechi is my name, and I represent Ndo-Kwakwa and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. I rise here this morning to present this motion of urgent public importance titled Urgent Need for Government Intervention to Combat Production and Distribution of Fake and Expired Drugs following the discovery of counterfeit drug factory in Osisoma, Ngwa local government area of Abia State. The House knows that the recent shocking discovery of a warehouse and fake drug production factory in a village, Osisoma Ngwa local government area of Abia State, where counterfeit and expired pharmaceutical products, including injectables, were being produced and distributed to public consumption. Also know that the illegal factory was engaged in the rebranding of expired drugs by altering their expiring dates and manufacturing fake medication, which pose a grave danger to public health and safety. Further note that the consumption of fake and substandard drugs can lead to severe health complications, drug resistance, treatment failures, and even loss of lives, thereby undermining the healthcare system in Nigeria. Concerned that the incident is not isolated, as similar cases of counterfeit drug manufacturing and distribution have been uncovered across the country, indicating a widespread public health crisis that requires immediate intervention. Worried that the circulation of fake and substandard drugs has contributed to the high mortality rate in Nigeria, with all suspecting citizens consuming ineffective or harmful medication which worsen illnesses and causes avoidable deaths. The House be aware that National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, and other relevant agencies are responsible for regulating and ensuring the safety of pharmaceutical products in Nigeria, and that urgent measures must be taken to strengthen the enforcement mechanism to prevent future occurrences. The House resolve condemn in the strongest terms the criminal act of producing and distributing fake drugs and commend the law enforcement agencies involved in uncovering the illegal operation in Osisomangwa local government area. Urge the federal government to immediately direct NAFDAC, the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria, PCN, and other relevant agencies to intensify surveillance, inspection, and crackdowns on fake drug manufacturers and distributors nationwide. Mandate the House Committee on Health and the Committee on Drug and Narcotic to investigate the proliferation of fake drugs in Nigeria and engage with stakeholders to develop stronger policies for combating counterfeit pharmaceutical production. Call on NAFDAC to increase public awareness campaign on the danger of fake drugs and introduce more advanced tracking and authentication system to help consumers verify the authenticity of pharmaceutical products before purchase. Or the Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with security agencies, to implement stricter penalties for individuals and organizations involved in production and distribution of fake drugs, ensuring the culprits face the full weight of the law. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so move.
Any seconder to this motion? Amendment? Doctor, go ahead.
Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, my name is Adeshola Adedayo. I represent the good people of Apapa. I am from Lagos. The amendment is that the lead committee should be NAFDAC, not Health Committee. NAFDAC is charged with the responsibility of drugs and whatever has to do with drugs in this country. So NAFDAC should be the lead committee, sir.
Clerk, do we have any committee, NAFDAC? We don't have any committee called NAFDAC. I know we have drugs and narcotics. Is that what you mean?
Committee on NAFDAC.
Sure?
Yes, headed by Mrs. Akume.
NAFDAC, not drugs and narcotics. Huh? Okay. Any seconder? Any seconder to this amendment? Mudashir, is it Honorable?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Moshood Olaniwa Josh.
Moshood, sorry. Say Mudashir.
I represent the wonderful people of Lagos Plenary Federal Constituency. I'm from Lagos State. I stand to second the amendment as made by Honorable Dr. Adedayo. I so second.
Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is of it. Any seconder to the main motion?
Order, please. Please, let's remain seated. Members, please.
Honorable Kalajaye.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency, dear colleagues, my name is Honorable Kalejai Adeboye Paul, PhD. I represent the good people of Ajeromi Felodun Federal Constituency. I'm from the mini Nigeria, Lagos State, state of aquatic splendor. I rise to second this all-important motion, ably moved by my colleague. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the committees on NAFDAC, health services, drugs and narcotics for further legislative action. The last but not the least is a motion coming from Right Honorable Inu Garba. If Honorable Inu is around, please can you rise and move your motion?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Right Honorable Inu Garba, member representing the law-abiding people of Yamatu-Deba Federal Constituency. I am from Gombe State, Mr. Speaker. I rise this morning to move that the House should keep aside the relevant House rules to allow me move a motion which I consider is a matter of urgent public importance for the need to urgently beef up security in Yamatu-Deba Federal Constituency, Gombe State, and its environs following the gruesome killing of a cleric and others in spite of unwarranted killings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Any seconder to the first leg? Honorable Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Distinguished honorable members. My name is Honorable Mohammed Dang Abba Shehu, member representing Zaki Federal Constituency. I am from Bauchi State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the motion heavily moved by my colleagues that this motion is very important and very urgent to be heard. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Second leg of the motion, Honorable Sessa.
Thank you, Amiable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Honorable Lesosa Yahweh, representing Redo Federal Constituency and from Edo State. I rise to second the motion of the second leg of the urgent important motion as moved by my colleagues. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Inua, you have the floor.
Thank you, the People's Speaker. The House notes with deep concern the gruesome murder of Christian cleric Reverend Balaga Ladima by unknown gunmen in Lugo Yamatu-Deba Federal Constituency, Gombe State, an incident that had a potential to ignite religious clashes in the area, but for the timely intervention of elders and community leaders, religious leaders, things were normal. In a similar incident, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, in the constituency of our minority whip, Balanga Iliri Federal Constituency, Mr. Jethro Bedi and his wife were kidnapped. A ransom has been paid, and unfortunately, the abducted was murdered. Further note that prior to this incident, one Saadu Ahmad was also killed in Kuri within same federal constituency, and his motorcycle was stolen by the assailant, further escalating fear and insecurity among the residents. Very unfortunate, after collecting the vehicle, he was murdered by slaughter. They slaughtered him. Very unfortunate. Observe that these unwarranted killings by unidentified gunmen have been occurring repeatedly in the federal constituency lately creating an atmosphere of fear, instability, and uncertainty among the populace. Worried that if proactive measures are not urgently taken to curb this act of violence, there could be a breakdown of law and order which may adversely affect the peace, economic activities, and social cohesion in the constituency and in the state at large. Conscious of the constitutional responsibility of government to protect lives and properties, as well as the need for urgent intervention to forestall the recurrence of these gruesome attacks. Resolved. Mr. Speaker, I come with the following resolutions as a prayer. Number 1, observe a minute silence in honor of the deceased. Number 2, mandate a joint committee, House Committee on National Security and Intelligence and Police Affairs to urgently pay condolence visits to the affected communities to interact with the stakeholders, especially on the porous nature of the borders within Adamawa, Taraba, and Bauchi, which affects the area. Third, mandate the Joint House Committee on National Security and Intelligence and Police Affairs to engage with the National Security Advisor of the President and other relevant security agencies to propose modalities that will prevent the reoccurrence of such heinous attacks in the constituency and in the country at large. Call for an improved joint security task force comprising of military, police, and local vigilante groups to intensify surveillance and proactive security measures to curb the activities of criminal elements in the constituency and beyond, or the federal government to provide necessary security support, including manpower and logistics, to security agencies operating in the area to effectively tackles the growing security concern. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Amobi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, the People's Speaker. My name remains Honorable Amobi Godwin Oga. I represent Nigerians through the good people of Isukwato and Umunnochi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to second the motion ably moved by my colleague and my friend. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on National Security and Police Affairs for further legislative action. Honorable colleagues, shall we rise for a minute silence? May the soul of the departed rest in peace.
Order, please. Honorable Salman, please be seated. Honorable Bado. Honorable Shinkavi, please. Honorable Shinkavi. Honorable Leko, please allow Shinkavi to sit. Take your seat, please.
Honorable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 17 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Federal Polytechnics Act Amendment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal University of Tropical Medicine, Urua, Edo State Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025, first reading. Penal Code Act Amendment Bill 2025, first reading. Council for the Registration of Travel and Tour Management Companies of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Chartered Institute for Tourism and Hospitality of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Robbery and Firearms Special Provisions are Amendment Bill 2025, first reading. Free childbirth and Medicare for children 0 to 12 years Bill 2025, first reading. Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma Federal University of Agriculture and Solid Minerals, Jalingo Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal Vocational and Skills Center, Okurike Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal Colleges of Agricultural Act Amendment Bill 2025, first reading. Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2025, first reading. Federal University of Mining and Geosciences Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal University of Entrepreneur and Business Management, Ekinri Ade, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal University of Health Sciences, Dawakin Tofa Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal University of Livestock and Development Studies, Tofa, Kano State Establishment Bill 2025, first reading. Federal University of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology, JOS, Establishment Bill 2025, first reading.
Honorable colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of two reports of the Committee on Health Institutions, standing in the name of Honorable Patrick Umo. Honorable Umo is hereby invited to present the reports.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker. Esteemed colleagues, my name is Dr. Patrick Umo. I represent the entire people of Ikorekpene, Esienudim, Oborokara Federal Constituency. The Speaker, I'm a proud son of Akwa Ibom State. I rise that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to amend Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Saki, Oyo State, for the provision of tertiary healthcare services, medical education, and for related matters, HB 1356. Yet again, I rise that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act 2022 to establish Federal Medical Center Achi, Enugu State, and for related matters, HB 1220. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is the Deputy Chairman of the committee around? Deputy Chairman, Committee on Health Institutions? None? You're around, please, can you rise and second the motion?
Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my name is Dr. Adeshola S. Adedayo. I represent the good people of Apapa Federal Constituency from the state of Aquatic Splendor. I rise this morning to second reading the presentation of the bills, those two bills, by the chairman of the committee, Dr. Umo. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Chair, please proceed and lay your report. The first order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for establishment of the National Assembly Infrastructure and Property Agency to take over the operation, management, development, maintenance, and preservation of the National Assembly complex and all properties of the National Assembly anywhere in Nigeria and for related matters. Standing in the names of Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, Honorable Daniel Amos, and Honorable Daniel Asama Ago. Honorable members recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 11th February 2025, and I invite Honorable Ambassador Ago to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my respected colleagues. I remain Honorable Ambassador Daniel Asma, and I represent the people of Bassa, Jos North Federal Constituency. Of course, I'm a Plateau man. I'm on my feet this afternoon to move a motion on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the National Assembly Infrastructural and Property Agency and for related matters to be heard or to be read the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Solomon.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Speaker, dear colleagues. My name is Solomon Wombo. I represent the people of Kasnala, Ukum, Logo Federal Constituency. I stand to second that Bill number HB 2072 be read a second time. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, in our usual tradition, this is an establishment bill. I'm sure details of the bills will be laid before you during public hearing, so with your kind permission, allow me to put the question. Those in support of the second reading of this bill should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to provide for establishment of the National Assembly Infrastructure and Property Agency to take over the operation, management, development, maintenance, and preservation of the National Assembly complex and all properties of the National Assembly anywhere in Nigeria and for related matters. Second reading.
This bill is referred to the Committee on Works for further legislative action. The second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to provide for establishment of an electoral offences tribunal and ensure that all electoral matters are determined before swearing in of the elected office holders and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Bamidele Salam. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 30th April 2024. I now invite Honorable Bamidele Salam to move that the bill be read a second time. Is Honorable Salam on the floor?
No, it's not on the floor at the moment, Mr. Speaker. We'll step it down.
This bill is stepped down by the leave of the House. The third order of the day, honorable colleagues, is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act, Cap F8, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for establishment of Federal College of Education, Special, Port Harcourt, River State, and for related matters. Standing in the name of Honorable Blessing Shigeru Amadi, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 2nd November 2023. And I invite Honorable Amadi to move that the bill be read a second time.
Good morning, our dear Speaker, my distinguished honorable members. I am Blessing Chigeru Amade, representing the good people of Port Harcourt, River State, and Ikwere woman. I hereby stand to move a motion that a bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Education Special, Port Harcourt, River State, and for related matters therein. I so move, sir.
Any seconder? Honorable Itete. Honorable Itete.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, my name is Ete Obolupumikpo. Mr. Speaker, I represent the good people of Eke, Una, Esreke, and even of Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Akwa Ibom State. I rise this morning to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Again, honorable colleagues, this is an establishment bill. With your kind permission, we'll go ahead and put the question. Those in support of the second reading of this bill should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Clerk.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act, CAF F8 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for establishment of Federal College of Education Special, Port Harcourt, River State, and for related matters. Second reading.
This bill is referred to the Committee on Federal Colleges of Education for further legislative action. The fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Technology, RIMI, Katsina State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Murtala Osman Banye. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 29th October 2024. I now invite Honorable Osman to move that the bill be read a second time. Is it Honorable Usman that I know of works?
Yes.
Is he the one?
Speaker. Yes, yes,
okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Architect Usman Murtala Banye, member representing people of Batagarawa, Cherenchirimi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Katsina State. I rise to move a motion that the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Technology, RIMI, Katsina State, and make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and for related matters. I so move that this bill should be read for the second time.
Honorable Tafoki.
The Right Honorable Speaker, sir, esteemed colleagues, I'm Honorable Shehu Alhatu Tafoki. I represent Paskari and Karasabwa. I'm from Katsina State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my friend, colleague, Honorable Architect Murtala Usman Banye. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Again, this is an establishment bill. With your kind permission, we go ahead and put the question. Osman, should we put the question? We should. You're sure? Okay. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Clerk.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish Federal University of Technology, RIMI, Katsina State, and make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and for related matters. Second reading.
This bill is referred to the Committee on University Education for further legislative action. The fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Army Colo Prohibition of Use Act and for related matters standing in the name of Honorable Uduak Alphonsus Odudo. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 8 October 2024. I now invite Honorable Uduak to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Excellency, our Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Uduak Alphonsus Odudo. I represent the people of Ikot Abasin, Patini and Eastern Obono Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ala-Igbo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this afternoon to move a motion for the bill on an act to amend the Army Color Prohibition Act, Army Color Prohibition of Use Act 1977, and for related connected matters to be read the second time. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Emerua.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name remains Honorable Boniface Meregwa. I represent the people of Ikwere Moa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from River State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion that this motion be read for the second time. I say second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This is an not establishment bill, and I think members will be curious to know the content of this bill. So, Honorable Uduak, if you can please give us a brief of what this bill is all about to enable members make up their mind on whether or not to support it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, once again for this opportunity. My name is Honorable Uduak Alphonsus Odudo. I represent the people of Ikot Abasin, Patini and Eastern Obono Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ala-Igbo State. Mr. Speaker, to give a background of the debate on the bill, the Army Color Prohibition of Use Act 1977 was enacted to prevent unauthorized individuals from using the official Nigerian Army green color on civilian vehicles. The goal was to curb impersonation, protect national security, and prevent criminals from using military identity to commit fraud, evade law enforcement, or create public panic. However, our security landscape has evolved drastically in the last 48 years. Since it has been enacted, criminal groups, insurgents, and other unauthorized entities have expanded their operations beyond land vehicles to include aircrafts, especially drones and water and marine vessels, taking advantage of the law's loopholes. The amendments seek to close these gaps by 1, expanding the prohibition to aircraft and water vessels, strengthening penalties to ensure effective deterrence. Mr. Speaker, the key amendment and justification are 1, inclusion of aircraft and water vessels. Like I said, in the mother bill, the prohibition was only limited to vehicles on the land. But now, some criminals use paint aircraft, army colors on aircraft and drones. And so this bill seeks to amend the mother bill and to amend the mother bill to accommodate the mother bill and expand that, and also to curb criminals from using army colors in other outside land vehicles in other materials like aircrafts and drones. So that is what this bill seeks to establish. It's an amendment bill.
Okay, Honorable Uduak, I'm sure honorable colleagues, you have listened to what the amendment bill is all about, so we go ahead and put the question. Those in support of the second reading of this bill should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. Clerk.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to amend the Army Color Prohibition of Use Act and for related matters, second reading.
This bill is referred to the Committee on Army for further legislative action. The sixth order of the day is a motion on a national call to halt homicidal and femicidal acts in Nigeria, standing in the names of Honorable Awaji Enombek D. Abiente and 3 other honorable members. Honorable Abiente is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Ebimabowe Tajuddin Abbas, PhD. My very distinguished colleagues, I am Awaji Nombek Dagomie Abiante. I represent the people of Andoni, Opobo, Nkoro Federal Constituency. I am an Ijoman and I'm from Rivers State. I rise to take this motion, the national call to halt homicidal and femicidal acts in Nigeria. And I'm supported on this duty by 3 of my colleagues. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, the House notes that the right to life is a fundamental human right guaranteed by the Constitution, while homicide, including murder, manslaughter, and other violent crimes leading to the termination of life, have been on the rise across the country, provoking demand for justice. The House also notes that femicide, which is the intentional killing of women and girls due to their gender, has become a significant concern with several reported cases in recent years. The House is disturbed by the following tragic cases, among several others: that in February 2020, one patient at Dibe was killed by her boyfriend in Benin after a brief argument. In May 2020, Vera Uwaila Umozua, a 100-level microbiology student of the University of Benin, was raped and murdered in a church. Collins Ujebulem, one of the suspects, claimed that a woman paid them to kill her for rituals. In June 2020, Barakat Bello, an 18-year-old student in Ibadan, was raped and stabbed to death. September 2020, 11-year-old Favor Okechukwu was gang raped and killed by 4 men in Lagos. April 2021, in Yobong Umorem, a fresh graduate was raped and murdered by a man posing as a job interviewer in Uyo. December 2021, Hanifa Abubakar, a 5-year-old child, was kidnapped, poisoned, and murdered by her school proprietor in Kano. February 2022, the fashion designer Bamise Ayanwole was murdered after boarding a BRT bus in Lagos. April 2022, Ifeanyi Njoku killed his girlfriend for money rituals. July 2022, Eunice Chioma Igwike abducted, killed, and butchered by human parts dealers. September 2022, a Chinese national, Mr. Frank, murdered his Nigerian girlfriend, Umul Kasam Buhari. July 2023, Benjamin Best murdered his girlfriend, Augusta Osedion, a 300-level student at the University of Port Harcourt. In August 2023, Ogenefe Jiro Reha was killed by her boyfriend for ritual purposes. October 2023, Okoligwe Demion Chinemerem killed Justina Otuene Nkang, a fellow student at the University of Port Harcourt. May 2024, Elisha was arrested for killing his lover, Edima, in a ritual murder. In June 2024, Glory Adekolure was raped and killed in Benin. August 2024, Fatai Mogaji stabbed his girlfriend to death, while Mojisola Awesu was murdered in a hotel. September 2024, Jeremiah Sampson killed Abigail Damilola, a university student, and buried her body. January 2025, the recent killing of Salome Adaidu, a National Youth Corps member in Nasarawa State, is a continuation of the trend. And alarmed by the killing of Chioma Nwanna, who was set ablaze by her husband in Anambra after a heated argument. The list is endless. Distraught by the delays in the prosecution of homicide cases, which have caused prolonged pre-trial detentions, which is overcrowding the correctional facilities, and loss of crucial evidence, eroding public faith in the judicial system. Concerned that the slow and ineffective justice system allows perpetrators to gain media attention, some have become beauty pageant winners, while trials for serious crimes like homicide are prolonged. For example, in the case of Chidinma Ojukwu, under trial for the murder of Osifo Ataga, continues to gain publicity. And the notorious kidnapper, Evans, facing trial for murder, has even been awarded scholarship to continue his studies. Aware that the National Judicial Council is responsible for overseeing the judiciary and improving the efficiency of the judicial process. Convinced that establishing special divisions within existing courts with exclusive jurisdiction over homicide and related cases will expedite justice, reduce backlogs, and restore public confidence in the legal system. Also convinced that ethical enlightenment through public awareness campaigns, focusing on instilling ethical values and respect for human life, and the integration of emotional intelligence programs to help young people develop non-violent problem-solving skills could help curb this menace. I am urging and inviting my colleagues to resolve to urge the National Judicial Council to facilitate the designation of special divisions within existing courts at all levels to expeditiously handle homicide, femicide, and related cases. Also urge relevant law enforcement agencies to, as a matter of fact and urgency, prioritize homicide investigations and ensure thorough prosecution of offenders. Further urge religious organizations, the National Orientation Agency, and other advocacy groups to initiate public awareness campaigns focusing on instilling ethical values and respect for human life, and to promote programs that educate young people on the dangers of ritual killings, murder, and manslaughter. Mandate the committees on judiciary and human rights to liaise with the National Judicial Council and other relevant stakeholders to monitor the implementation of this resolution and report progress at intervals of 3 weeks. I so move.
Any comments? I thought I will allow 1 or 2 people to make comments on this before we put the question. Seconded? It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of style. But let's do it the way you want. Who wants to second? Honorable Idris Ahmed Wase, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, sir, respected colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris, representing Wase, Federal Constituency, Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I like to second the motion as ably moved by my brother, Honorable Abenti. I say second.
Before I put the question, any comments? Honorable Abenti. It's a motion now. You want to debate on the motion? You want to add more flesh to it? Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My discussion, I'm very brief. Mr. Speaker and my colleagues, this is a trend, and it is very dangerous. A long while ago, we may not have known exactly what we had done or what we were doing at that time. It started small, and agencies responsible for its regulation didn't pay attention. when we will sit down in our homes laughing, looking at the screens, and we will be saying, Nnayi sacrifice. The Nnayi sacrifice has metamorphosed into what we find today as Yahoo and Yahoo Plus, where even a man will build a hotel and put 30 graves. What are those graves for? We do not know. Where the killings and dismemberment of humans have become very common sights all over the country. Mr. Speaker, I will allow my colleagues to also bring their perspective to this. More importantly, I want to urge all of us to see this as very serious, and we should do the best that we can to put a stop to it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Speaking Speaker. My honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Chief Dr. Billy Famous Adesuwa Sawaru. I represent the good people of Orienwo Nwode Federal Constituency of Edo State, a very proud Benin chief. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the sponsors of this motion. Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious issue going on in Nigeria as of today. Mr. Speaker, our women have become endangered species. Mr. Speaker, if nothing is done at this moment, this is going to look like the case of banditry and herdsmen in Nigeria. It's true, just like Right Honorable Ambiete said, these whole things started very small. But today, I'm sure there is hardly any day we don't hear about issues like this, where our girls and women are being murdered, and nothing comes out of it. Yes, you can only stay on the news, maybe for 2 or 3, 4 days. After that, nobody hears anything about it anymore. Mr. Speaker, I think this is happening because nobody or very few people or agencies or institutions responsible for those kind of things when it comes to investigations and enforcement, their feet have not been put to the fire. Just like the nonchalant attitude that we experience from a lot of these agencies responsible for things like this. This has gotten to this stage where issues of lives, especially the lives of our women and girls in Nigeria, are being taken and nothing is done. But today, again, I want to thank the sponsors of this motion for bringing it to the limelight. Mr. Speaker, at this point, and my honorable colleagues, I want to call for all hands to be on deck. Those that don't have daughters have sisters. Those that don't have sisters have mothers. I think this is a collective responsibility of all Nigerian men, of all Nigerian fathers and mothers, to take this as a matter of urgency to protect our women. It does not matter if that woman or that girl is your child, but when you find something that is not right, whether it's in the hotel room, you can be a guest, but when you find something or movement that is not normal, we should say something. We should not only say something, we should do something. We see on social media, Mr. Speaker, where people even start to record heinous crimes like this. It bothers me that you find where a woman or a girl or another human being for that matter
is being murdered, being armed, and people still stand there with their phones to record without even trying to distract the perpetrator of such crimes. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I want to beg of all of us to call on our agencies and institutions responsible for investigation, prevention, and enforcement to get up and do the needful. And when these things happen, we just don't want to hear that it has happened. We want to hear that somebody was prosecuted. Somebody had to pay for what they have done to serve as deterrent for others that will have this in mind one day to want to do this. Mr. Speaker, we want to call on our orientation agencies as well to do more, to bring this to the notice of Nigerians, our women, our girls, on how they can protect themselves. The red flags to look out for. Mr. Speaker, at this point, I want to thank again the movers or sponsors of this motion. Thank you very much. I'll let every member vote to pass this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, we'll recognize only 2 to 3 because we have so many things to also attend to. Let us restrict to only 1 minute. Please, let us not exceed. And I'm sure our timekeepers are willing to do their jobs where you exceed what has been allocated. I start with Honorable Gadi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable members. Yusuf Gagdi from Panshinkanke, Kanam Federal Constituency. This is a motion, Mr. Speaker, that my colleagues will agree with me that everybody will want to lend his voice on. But because it is 1 minute, having commended the motion movers all together and my friend, Honorable Abente, let me go to his prayer, which talk about religious leaders and other religious organizations are urged to advocate, initiate public conversations that will stop some of those things. I want to add, by calling our various religious leaders, Muslims and Christians. So if you look at the weight of this motion about killing on a daily basis, aside of being worried to the fact that someone kills somebody, taken to court, prosecuted, because of our laws, you see some of the people like moving on the street tomorrow again. Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying this about anybody, but what is good and what is bad. If you know that what is meted to you is unacceptable to you, do not mete it to the other person, which equally will be unacceptable to you. But why our society is like this? We preach denominations and interdenominations and rivalry between religious leaders. Instead of our religious leaders dedicating themselves to the ills of the society, they are now dedicating themselves in talking about one another, criticizing one another, one sect or another. So I want to call on them again. What is happening in our society? They need to put heads together to ensure that they have preached morality, that they have preached in such a way that the generation and the generation unborn will learn the etiquette of morality instead of behaving the way the society is behaving. Finally, thank you for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, Honorable Abente, for coming to the aid of Nigerians to move this motion.
Honorable Shagaya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Mukhtar Tolani Shagaya, representing Nigerians starting from Ilorin West, Asa, Federal Constituency of Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to lend my voice to this all-important discussion. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, a case similar to this has taken place in my constituency over the weekend when a Hafsa Lawal Adefalu, the daughter of a prominent stakeholder of the APC, the granddaughter, was brutally butchered for alleged ritual purposes. This barbaric and inhumane practice not only robs us of innocent lives, but also undermines the very fabric of our society. We must act decisively to ensure
that these heinous crimes are met with the full force of the law. Our justice system must serve as both a deterrent and a beacon of hope for the vulnerable. I call on this House to prioritize stricter legislation, improve law enforcement capacity, and invest in public awareness campaigns to eradicate the culture and silence surrounding these atrocities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you, honourable colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Kamis. Let's finish taking the contributions first.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, respective colleagues, members of the House. My name is Abdul Hakim Kamilo Ado, representing Udalgarko Federal Constituency from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, as a rider towards Honourable Shagaya, alongside Right Honourable Gagdi mentioned, Mr. Speaker, I will stick to the 1 minute given to us. I think religious organizations and the National Orientation Agency, advocating them for public awareness is not enough. I could remember when Kano was on hot fire, Mr. Speaker, when the young Hanifa was murdered, followed by Kulsum, who was murdered by a foreigner. And those murderers are there in our custodial center enjoying the government money, enjoying the food of the government. As mentioned by Right Honourable Abiante, one of them from South was given a scholarship to further his studies after murdering a lady. Mr. Speaker, I think what we should put more concern about is the implementation. Maybe revisiting the previous cases and ensure implementation so that such cases could not happen again in this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Bamidele Salami.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
After you, we'll just take amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bamidele Salam, at the north, at the south, at the Ala-Igbo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, while also thanking the movers of this motion for this very important issue they are brought into discussion, I just want to put two perspectives. The first one is the need for us as a country to deepen our security awareness education. Mr. Speaker, in most cases when things like this happen, people who perpetrate this evil feast on the innocence of their victim. And the victims may be thinking that they are well-meaning individuals or persons fall easily into their trap. And one of the things that nations of the world have done to curb cases like this is to ensure that right from primary education level, there are security awareness education, which lets persons grow up knowing when there are red flags in communication, red flags in relationship, red flags in invitation, so that they can identify these pitfalls and avoid falling into them in the course of life. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, has to do with the need for us to enforce our rules, laws, and regulations, especially with regards to the hospitality industry. Mr. Speaker, this is about the only country I know in the world where you can lodge into a hotel without proper identification. It doesn't happen in any other place. You go into a hotel, you are profiled, your international passport or photo ID is taken and captured. In Nigeria today, you go to most of the hotels, they just allow guests in, and they use these places to perpetrate most of these killings in a manner that leaves little or no trail, onto the perpetrators of the act. So I think these two very important matters, deepening security, education, and awareness, as well as enforcing rules and regulations, especially the hospitality industry, to ensure that persons that come into hotels and places like that are profiled, documented, and traceable, will help us a great deal to be able to prevent most of these cases from happening. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We'll take amendment. Any amendment to the prayers?
Amendment.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, honourable colleagues. Agbedi Yeitemne Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Ikremon Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, honourable colleagues, I wish and rise to amend prayer 4 of this motion, simply because this motion is very crucial, very, very important, and it touches on the fabrics of human existence in our country, Nigeria. And so having read through prayer 4 and seeing the committees and the time frame which may be determined by Mr. Speaker or otherwise, I wish to move that because of the importance of this issue, because of the critical nature of this issue, while the other committees may within a time frame submit a report to this House, after which they cannot go back to that same action, I want to move that the Committee on Compliance, which can monitor this issue through the life of this Assembly, be added to prayer 4. I so move, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Please be more specific. You said, what time are you talking about?
I said the Committee on Compliance can monitor this matter in terms of compliance through the life of the 10th Assembly. And
but
so
what
for
I
that,
understand with Committee on Compliance is that a resolution has to be passed. If there is a failure from the relevant MDA, that's when Committee of Compliance comes into play.
Yes,
you don't involve them from day one at the point of passing the resolution. Compliance is supposed to be after a directive or a resolution is passed.
Yes.
If the committee could not be able to get the MDA to do the needful, then compliance is now referred to continue engaging. So
Mr. Speaker,
based on our rules, they are not supposed to work in tandem with the committees that are supposed to do the investigation. The investigation has to be made, resolution passed. If it is not respected, that's one committee on legislative compliance is supposed to actually start its own work. You know, I was a deputy chairman of that committee in the 7th Assembly.
Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to insinuate is this. This matter is not completely an investigative motion. It is an emotion where facts and figures have been presented that has taken place in this country, and that the appropriate committees are so recommended by the movers of this motion is to the extent that you work with the MDAs to ensure that appropriate actions are taken within the time frame, Mr. Speaker. And within the time frame, Mr. Speaker, the committees so prescribed will be required to submit their report to this House. When the report is submitted, Mr. Speaker, this House will not be referring it back to compliance as it were. But if the Committee on Compliance is added to these committees that are working, even when the main committee so prescribed submits report, the Committee on Compliance, by dint of the responsibilities given to them, can continue to ensure that there is compliance in this all-important and critical issue that touches on the fabrics of Nigerians that have lost, the innocent lives that have been lost because of some desperation of certain Nigerians who want to acquire whatever they want to acquire by whatever means. Mr. Speaker, we are trying to deal with a matter that is becoming a cankerworm in this country, and all that whatever that we need to do to ensure that we reduce this carnage that is rising. It is important that we use all available legislative time to deal with it. That is why I'm recommending and moving that the Committee on Compliance, which is going to, even after the reports have been submitted, which can do its work all through the tenure of the 10th Assembly, be added as my motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's hear the opinion of Honorable Ahmed Idris. We'll take decision thereafter.
Respected colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris, representing Wasai. Mr. Speaker, I want to lean and be on your own side. Yes, we want this matter resolved as quickly as possible, but when you have conflict of roles and interests as per our standing order, we may not achieve the desired result of what we want to achieve. So the right position is what you said: allow the committees to function. Thereafter, legislative compliance will come in if there is failure. Thank you very much, sir.
That is the way I know the House rule is designed. Otherwise, legislative compliance will be in every resolution of the House, every motion. You cannot involve them until when the resolution of the House is not actually respected by the MDAs. That's when legislative compliance work is supposed to commence. Okay? Yeah. Thank you so much. So we put the question, any seconder, did we get a seconder to this motion?
Further
okay,
amendments.
Honorable Idris Wase has already seconded, so we put the question.
Further amendments. Further amendments.
Honorable Oke, is amendment right?
Further amendments. Amendments.
It's noted. It's noted. We give you the opportunity. Let's start with Honorable Oke.
Thank you, the People's Speaker, distinguished colleagues. My name is Barrister Jesse Okejo Onakalus. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, I represent the Nigerians, especially the habit of Lagos Ocho Solo. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to bring to your attention just that the statistics have been given and the resolutions as in this paper is hearing. But Mr. Speaker, one thing I think is missing here. Whereas the statistics are there, but there's a need for these committees that will be set up to look at what are the causes of these problems. They need to investigate, further investigation on it to find out the causes before the recommendation. But because if you go back and plan to look at the NJC to facilitate the expedition of the cases, what are the causes of this problem? There's a need for them to carry out, one of the prayers should be to investigate the causes of this.
So what are you amending?
Mr. Speaker, I want to add here that the House resolved to investigate the causes of this heinous crime, to invest the committees to investigate the causes of this heinous crime. Secondly, then that will be the first prayer, to investigate the causes and make a recommendation. And that, based on that recommendation, that will now meet the National Judicial Council to go on. That's my prayer, sir.
Any seconder to this amendment? Any seconder? Honorable Aluko.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The Right Honorable Speaker, my name is Ahmed Yinka Aluko, representing the people of Ilorin East and South Federal Constituency. I rise to second the amendment ably moved by my learned brother, also second.
Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it.
Yes, further amendment.
The only pastor that I recognize in this chamber.
Thank you,
very holy man.
Speaker. The Ian Zaza, the speaking speaker. Eze, Mwachuku Eze is my name. I represent the good people of Ebonyi, Ohuku Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the most fast developing state in Nigeria, the salt of the nation state, Ebonyi. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is on prayer 3, so that we will understand the reason for this amendment. I want to briefly lay some emphasis. Thank you very much, Honorable Oke, for emphasizing on the causes of these killings and the situation we find ourselves today in this country. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is to add the Ministry of Women Affairs in Nigeria.
The Ministry of what?
Women Affairs.
Okay.
In this orientation and education of our young girls. The actual causes of these killings, for me, there are basically two major factors, which I know the Minister of Women Affairs...
You are only making amendment, you are not discussing the subject matter. You are proposing that Ministry of Women Affairs should be included, right?
Mr. Speaker, I asked for the leave of the House to lay some emphasis.
No,
so that
no,
the
no.
inclusion
We are only
was
asking
well
of
understood.
amendment. Go ahead and amend.
My amendment is for the Ministry of Women Affairs, which have state also ministries, to get up to the challenges by developing a program to educate our young girls for their morality and guide themselves, because they are good.
Let me guide you a little.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Why don't you also include the Committee on Women Affairs among the committees?
Perfect. Perfect.
To at least liaise with NJC. Is that okay?
It's okay, Mr. Speaker.
Inclusion of Committee on Women Affairs among the committees to be referred to.
That's okay.
Any seconder to this amendment?
Thank you.
Any seconder? Honorable Halims.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished honorable colleagues. Abdullah Ibrahim Ali is my name. I am from Kogi State. I rise to second the amendment as moved by our colleague. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is a bit. America, amendment, right? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My amendment is in respect of prayer number 2. My amendment is to add that where such heinous crime is committed in a private homes or hotels, such hotels should be destroyed or pulled down, demolished to forestall further.
Please, can you repeat what you said?
Yes. Such hotels should be demolished.
Repeat what you said, please.
Yes. Where such heinous crime is discovered to be committed in a hotel or private homes, such homes or hotels should be demolished.
So it's just an amendment to the wordings?
Yes, to the punishment.
Not under the prayers, right?
There should be steep penalty to those who have such a caprice.
Which one are you amending? Is it an additional prayer or an amendment of a prayer?
An addition to prayer 2.
An additional prayer?
Yes, to prayer 2. An addition to prayer 2.
So that is amendment of prayer 2 then?
Exactly, sir.
Isn't it?
Exactly, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Any seconder to this? Or you want to counter what he has said? Okay, go ahead. Let's hear what you're going to say. Who is sabotaging our leader?
Oh, Your Excellency, I thought you said we should counter it.
Somebody's microphone is on. Please, can we check and put our microphones off, please?
This is on.
Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris, representing Wase Federal Constituency, Plateau State. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, as good as his own amendment may look like, sir, this act is a criminal act, and it is enshrined in our laws, constitution, and in the bylaws guiding the court's proceedings. We cannot amend our laws through motions. So I want to beg him to step down, only if he is interested to come with an official amendment. There are states who are doing this, but they have to come through enactment of law, sir. Thank you very much. These are my own contribution.
Honorable Emirogwa, are you satisfied?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm satisfied.
It's okay. So let's put the question.
I therefore
think we
withdraw
have taken enough amendments.
Yes, let's say I withdraw the the amendment.
It's okay, it's noted. Thank you very much. So those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Judiciary, Human Rights, and Women Affairs for further legislative action.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What's your point of order?
My point of order is under Order 8, Rule 6, personal explanation. Should I go ahead?
Please go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my name is Honorable Leke Abejide. I represent the good people of Yagba East, Yagba West, Mapamuro Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. My point of order is on personal explanation, as I said. Yesterday, the 17th of February, in Kogi State, I was there. Dangote cement truck came with a speed and killed 15 students.
Honorable Leke, this is not personal explanation.
It's personal because as we are seated here, they are calling us from home.
This is a public issue, and we have already agreed that it will come under matters of urgent public importance.
Your Excellency will not be able to sit down again here because they are calling us from home. That we have to come
But
home.
this cannot be entertained under personal explanation. It's completely out of the way. This is not personal to you or to the House. This is a matter of public importance, which is supposed to be treated as such. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Honorable colleagues, the seventh order of the day is a motion calling on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct by-elections for vacancies in the National and State Assemblies. Standing in the name of Honorable Jafar Leko, Honorable Leko is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, my dear respected colleagues. My name is Honorable Jafar Leko. I speak for and on behalf of a very good people of Bogoro, Dastafa, Balewa. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, I rise this afternoon to move a very important motion.
Honorable Ali Madaki, all other leaders, please, can you approach the chair?
To call on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct by-election in vacant seat in the National and State Assembly. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House notes that the Independent National Electoral Commission, established pursuant to Section 153, subsection F of Federal Republic of Nigeria Constitution as amended 1999, as a sole body vested with the responsibility of conducting election of federal, state, and area council in the Federal Capital Territory. They also note that Section 47 and Section 90 of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended 1999, outline the establishment of National State Assembly to ensure the right of citizens to be represented in the federal and state legislative bodies. Further note that since 2023 general election and subsequent election, there have been instances of resignation, death, or appointment of former members of both National and State House of Assembly to executive positions. Aware that Section 68 of Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria provide for succession and vacation of seat of National Assembly, whereas Section 76, subsection 2, stress the need for by-election to be conducted within 30 days when vacancy occurs. Also aware that upon the declaration of this seat as vacant, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is obligated under the provision of Section 76, subsection 2, to conduct by-election to fill vacant positions and ensure proper representation of affected constituencies. The House is worried that Nigerians practice a constitutional democracy that continued vacancy of this seat without holding timely by-election result in disenfranchisement of the affected citizen, which constitute a violation of constitutional principle of representation and deprive the electorate of their right to adequate representation. The House is also worried that the delay in conducting the by-elections for the vacant seat is a contravention of constitutional provision, a breach of due process, and denial of affected constituents for proper presentation. The House is concerned that the electoral inaction from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, violate the principle of democracy and representative of governance, leaving the citizen unrepresented, and also obstruct legislative activities as committees and plenary section lack full participation from duly elected members. Also concerned that the electoral inaction set a dangerous precedent where compliance with the Constitution and electoral law become optional rather than mandatory. The House resolved as follows. 1 is to mandate the Committee on Electoral Matters to investigate the issues of electoral inaction and invite the leadership of Independent National Electoral Commission to provide detailed explanation for the reason behind the delay and step taken to rectify the situation, and also to mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks of legislative action. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, I so move. Thank you.
Honorable Umaru, please can you second?
Thank you, Excellency. Right Honorable Speaker, my respected colleagues, Honorable Dr. Jeremiah Umaru, EC is my name. I represent Akwanga, Nasarawa, Egomba Federal Constituency. I am from Nasarawa State, Mr. Speaker. I stand to second the motion logically presented by Honorable Leko. I so second. Thank you.
Please, Honorable Umaru, just a word of warning to you. You should always give him his formal designation as the chairman of the Committee of Deputies, of which you are a member. No, you are not respecting him well.
Your Excellency, noted for compliance, sir.
Thank you very much. So we put the question, those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it. This motion is referred to the Committee on Electoral Matters for further legislative action. The eighth order of the day is a motion on the need to enhance security operations against killings and kidnapping by bandits in Kafur/Malumfashi Federal Constituency, standing in the name of Honorable Muhammad Aminu Ibrahim. Honorable Ibrahim is hereby invited to move the motion.
Order, please. Honorable colleagues, please be seated, please.
Your Excellency, Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I am Muhammad Amin Ibrahim, member representing the people of Malam Fashi Kafur Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Katsina State. I rather have this afternoon to move a motion on the need to enhance security operation against killing and kidnapping by bandits in Malam Fashi Kafur Federal Constituency of Katsina State. The House to note that there is increase in banditry activities resulting in the killing and kidnapping of innocent citizens in Malam Fashi Kafur Federal Constituency of Katsina State. Also, note that the incessant banditry in Malam Fashi town, Mararaba Kankara, Na'alma and other villages in Malam Fashi local government areas, Yarubori, Gidang Kaura, Korengafa and other villages in Kafur local government areas have led to the displacement of many communities and the migration of influential and rich people due to fear of being kidnapped or killed by the bandit. Worried that the victims are mostly young women, children between the age of 4 and the security personnel. A DPO of Kapur local government area is still under admission in the Plenary Medical Center, Katsina, after receiving a gunshot from the bandit in one of their operations to rescue a community. Also, worried that the banditry activities became a regular pattern in these local government areas as a result of limited presence of army in Malam Fashi and Kafur, which has encouraged criminal activities by bandits in that area. Cognizant of the need to implement security measures and increase the number of military personnel to complement the effort of police, civil watch corps, and the vigilante in that areas. The House to resolve: 1. Urge the Chief of Army Staff and Inspector General of Police to jointly launch a special operation to flush out the bandits in these areas and the Katsina State in general. 2. Also urge the Inspector General of Police, IGP, and the National Security Advisor, NSA, to expedite the development of more security personnel to tackle the killing and the kidnapping by bandits in Kafur Malam Fashi Federal Constituency. And 3. Mandate the Committee of Army, Police, and National Security to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I so moved. Thank you.
Any seconder? Honorable Miga.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm Honorable Saidu Yusuf Miga. I represent Jahun Miga Federal Constituency. I'm from Jigawa State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Ibrahim. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Army, Police, and National Security for further legislative action. The chairman rules, please can you move that we suspend 9th order and the 10th order of the day to another legislative day to enable us consider our supplementary order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Francis Ejiro is my name. I represent the entire people of Uele North, Uele South, and Udu. I'm from Delta State. I rise to move that the items number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 on our order paper for today be stepped down in order for us to handle the issue on the supplementary paper for the day. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, Aliyu Sanuma Daki is my name, and I represent the Ala Federal Constituency of Kano State. I stand to second the motion that we step items number 9 to 13 as moved by the Business and Rule Chairman. I do second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, the next order of the day is a motion on the rescission of some items in the recurrent non-debt expenditure in the 2025 Appropriation Act, pursuant to Order 9, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders, House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable Francis Waive. Honorable Waive is hereby invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Francis Ejirogane Waive is my name. I represent the entire people of Ugele North, Ugele South, and Udu. I'm from Delta State. I rise to move for the rescission of the expenditures item on the 2025 Appropriation Act, pursuant to Order 9, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. The House recalls that the 2025 Appropriations Bill was passed by the House and the Senate on Thursday, 13 February 2025. The House observes that at the point of cleaning and realignment of the Joint Committees on Appropriations, the Joint Committees discovered some inadvertent errors in the unlisted line items passed by the House of Representatives and the Senate, recurrent in the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Police Affairs, Office of the Head of the Civil Service, Civilian Pension, Military Pensions and Gratuities, NHIS Military Retirees, DIA Civilian Staff Pension and Gratuities, Department of State Securities, Nigeria Intelligence Agency, Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, Police Pensions and Gratuities, Customs, Immigration and Prisons Pension Office, Universities Pension including arrears, Parastatals Pension and Railways Pension, NABCO, National Pension Commission, PENCOM, and other pensions. The Presidency, Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Ministry of Police Affairs, National Security Advisor, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, Federal Ministry of Transportation, Federal Ministry of Works, Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, Federal Ministry of Education, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Federal Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. The House notes that while the overall figures of 54 trillion 990 billion 165 million 355,369 naira statutory transfer of 3 trillion 645 billion 761 million 358,925 naira, as well as debt service of 14 trillion 348 naira remain the same as past. The recurrent non-debt expenditure was increased to 13 trillion 582,673 naira, and the capital reduced to 23 trillion 339 billion 251 million 624,250 naira, changed as a result of correction and realignment made by the committee. The House is aware that the Joint Committee on Appropriation had effected these corrections in the appropriation bill, thereby making the long title to read thus: a bill for an act to authorize from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the sum of 54 trillion 990 billion 165 million 355,396 naira only, of which 3 trillion 655 billion 761 million 358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14 trillion 317 billion 142 million
289,548 naira only is for debt service. 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,439,251,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the development fund of the capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025. Relying on orders 1296 of the standing orders of the House as amended, the House accordingly resolves as follows. 1. Rescind its decision on the affected items as passed. 2. Direct the clerk of the House to reflect the corrections accordingly in the Appropriations Act bill. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The Deputy Chair, Rules and Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished colleagues, I'm Bello Issa Ambarura, representing the people of Godabawa and Ilela Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Sokoto State. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise up to second the motion ably moved by my chairman, Rules and Business, on rescission of some items in the current non-debt expenditure in the 2025 Appropriation Act, pursuant to Order 9, Rule 1, Subsection 6 of the Standing Orders of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This bill is now recommitted to the Committee of Supply for further legislative action. The next order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers, where 14,342,142,689,548 naira only is for debt service, while 13,582,9,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,439,251,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending 31st day of December 2025. Honorable members, you recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of Supply on Tuesday, 18th February 2025. The House Leader will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Abdullah Ibrahim Ali Halims is my name. I am from Kogi State. I represent the good people of Ankpa, Omala, Alambra, Federal Constituency. I hereby move for consideration of this report on a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54,965,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,396 358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers, while 14,317,142,689,548 naira only is for debt service, while 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt service expenditure, while the sum of 23,439,251,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st December 2025. I hereby move for consideration of this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, Aliyu Sani Madaki is my name, and I represent the Ala-Igbo constituency of Kano State. I stand to second the motion that we do dissolve into Committee of Supply to consider the report as moved by the House Leader. I do second, sir.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it. Leader of the House, can you move that the House do resolve into the Committee of Supply to consider this report?
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. Once again, Abdullah Ibrahim Ali is my name. I represent the very wonderful people of Ankpa Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I hereby move that the House move into the Committee of Supply for the consideration of this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, Aliyu Sani Madaki is my name. I represent the Ala-Igbo constituency of Kano State. I stand to second the motion that the House do dissolve into Committee of Supply to consider the report. I do second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it. House has resolved into the Committee of the Whole. Honorable colleagues, it's my pleasure to invite the Chairman Committee on Appropriation to give a brief synopsis of these amendments. Do you want to do so? Is the Chair? You can do that on behalf.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Like we mentioned during the rescission, it's just a few errors that the Appropriation Committee, the Joint Appropriation Committee noticed, and that's what we are correcting. And it doesn't affect the final figure at the end of the day. And that's all we want to do this afternoon, and we plead for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, honorable colleagues, with your kind permission, we can go through those areas of amendments, beginning from 46. 46, Ministry of Defense carried. 54, Ministry of Police Affairs carried. Total pension gratuity and retirement benefits carried. Item 177, presidency carried. Item 180, Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation carried. Item 186, Ministry of Police Affairs carried. Item 188, National Security Advisor's Office carried. Item 190, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation carried. Item 193, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security carried. Item 197, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment carried. Item 198, Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology carried. Item 199, Federal Ministry of Transportation carried. Item 206, Federal Ministry of Works carried. Item 210, Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation carried. Are you sure this Ministry of Water Resources will not require some kind of debate here? Honorable Baba, are we together? So that's okay, since you have approved. Federal Ministry of Women Affairs carried. Federal 218, Federal Ministry of Education carried. 219, Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare carried. 220, Federal Ministry of Environment carried. 222, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation carried. Thank you, honorable colleagues. Observation? In what? What we have just mentioned? Thank you very much, honorable colleagues. The chairman rules, can you move that the House revert back to plenary to consider the report?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to move that the House revert back to plenary to consider the report of the Committee of Supply. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, Aliyu Madaki is my name, and I represent the Ala-Igbo constituency of Kano State. I stand to second the motion that the House do revert back to plenary. I do second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is have it. House has reverted back to plenary. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, the House and Committee of Supply considered the report on a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers, while 14,317,148 naira only is for debt service. The sum of 13,588,9,682,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23 trillion 439 billion 251 million 624,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2025. And in so doing, we approved clauses 46, 54, 98, 177, 180, 186, 188, 190, 193, 197, 198, 199, 206, 210, 217, 218, 219, 220, and 222. The schedule, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. The Leader of the House, can you move that the House do adopt the report of the Committee of Supply?
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Abdullah Ibrahim Ali is my name. I represent the people of Ankpa, Omala, Lambara, Federal Constituency. I hereby move that the House to adopt the report of the consideration of the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, please, can you second?
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, Aliyu Madaki is my name, and I represent the Ala-Igbo constituency of Kano State. I stand to second the motion as moved by the House Leader. I do second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The Leader of the House, can you move that the House suspend its rules to enable us do the third reading of this bill?
To do what? Oga? Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House suspend its relevant rules to enable us do third reading for this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader, please, can you second?
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, I stand to second the motion that we suspend the relevant rules and consider the bill for third reading. I do second.
Those in support of that motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, the total sum of 54,990,165,355,396 naira only, of which 3,645,761,358,925 naira only is for statutory transfers. 14,317,142,681,548 naira only is for debt service. 13,588,9,680,673 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 23,239,624,250 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund for Capital Expenditure for the year ending 31st December 2025. Third reading.
This bill is read for the third time and passed. Honorable colleagues, we have some couple of announcements. The first is coming from Honorable Bello Hassan Shinkafi, and his message reads as follows. We, the 7 members of Zamfara State National Assembly members, wish to notify this August House who are interested to attend a 3-day prayer of our former colleague who served during the 9th Assembly, who died 3 days ago. In the name of Honorable Sani Umar Dangaladima, representing Kaura Birni Magaji, Zamfara State, scheduled to take place in his residence at Gwarimpa, opposite MAP Global Estate, Abuja, time 1:30 p.m., date today. Signed, Honorable Bello Hassan Shinkafi. The next announcement, honorable colleagues, is in respect of a public hearing on our tax reform bills. The announcement reads as follows. This is to inform honorable members that public hearing on the tax reform bills is hereby scheduled as follows. Date, Wednesday, 26 February 2025. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Venue, former temporary chamber. Honorable members are enjoined to participate and contribute meaningfully to the debates. Announcer, Right Honorable Julius Ehovere, the House Leader. And because of the importance attached to this particular exercise, we have decided to do this hearing a little different from how we used to do it. We have agreed that this will be done by a special committee comprising 36 members of the Committee on Finance and Abuja, as well as some co-opted members. So with your kind permission, I will read out the names of those who will be participating in the public hearing, and they are as follows. Abiodun Faleke, who is the chairman of the Committee on Finance, who will still chair this committee. Saeed Musa Abdullahi, who is the deputy chairman of the Committee on Finance, will remain the deputy chairman of this special committee. Honorable Ado Dogwa Al-Hassan, chairman of the Northern Caucus, will be a member. Honorable Nicholas Mutu, chairman, Southern Caucus, will be a member. Honorable Ahmed Idris, chairman, North Central Caucus, will be a member. Honorable Mukhtar Aliu Batera, chairman, Northeast Caucus, is a member. Honorable Sada Soli, chairman, Northwest Caucus, is a member. We also have Honorable Igariwe Iduma Ewo, who is the chairman, Southeast Caucus, who is also a member. Honorable Fred Abedi, the chairman, South-South Caucus, is also a member. We also have additional members. I think they are members, more or less members of the committee, but let me read out their names. We have Honorable Benson Babajimi Adegoke, Honorable Alozi Munachim Ikeji, we have Mohammed Inua Basi, Honorable Iset Mark Udo, Honorable Solomon Wombo, Mala Abubakar Ghana, Itane Bene Benedict, Honorable Unwoba C. Joseph, Honorable Iyawe Isosa, Honorable Kolawole Davison Akilayo, Honorable Namchi Paul Sonde, Honorable Obika Joshua Chinedu, Honorable Abdullah El Rashid, Honorable Ikegono Oyinye UM, Honorable Madaki Dairu, Honorable Matthew Donatos Kozalio, Honorable Maazu Abdullah Gorzo, Honorable Ilyasu Aliu Abubakar, Honorable Sani Yakubu Noma, Honorable Abdul Malik A. Danga, Honorable Tijani Kaido Ismail, Honorable Kalejai Adeboye Paul, Honorable Hat Cyril Godwin, Honorable Ari Abdul Mumin Mohammed, Honorable Abubakar Abdul Buba Abubakar, Honorable Afuape Afolabi Muruf, Honorable Adelebe Oluwatimehen E, Honorable Omirin Emmanuel Olusanya, Honorable John Monful Dafan, Honorable Anderson Allison Igbigs, Honorable Prince Ayuba Abokiza Kudampar, Honorable Zakaria Tijani Zana, Honorable Abdul Malik Zubairu, Honorable Anikwe Peter Ogogalaya, Honorable Aliu Aminu Garu, Honorable Abika K. Mary Animitete, Honorable Victor Bisong Abang, Honorable Akande Shadipe Tolulupe Tualula. Those are the members of the committee. So please be accordingly guided. I'm sure further announcement concerning invitation to the general public will be made in due course. We also have a reminder on the inauguration of the National Assembly Mosque Committee, which is scheduled to take place today at 2:30 p.m. by the Right Honorable Speaker at Room 301, New House of Representative Building. So all Muslim brothers who may wish to attend, please be guided accordingly. The Leader of the House, can you please move for the adjournment of the House to tomorrow, 11 o'clock?
Thank you.
Sorry, before we do that, can you move for the suspension of our rules to allow us to adopt the votes and procedures of today?
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I hereby move for the suspension of our relevant rules to enable us to adopt the resolution of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, I stand to second the motion as moved by the House Leader. I do second, sir.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it. Leader of the House, can you move for the adjournment of the House to tomorrow, Wednesday, 11 a.m.?
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Having done justice to all issues on the other paper today, I hereby move that the House do adjourn to tomorrow, Wednesday, same time, same venue. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, I stand to second the motion that the House do adjourn to tomorrow, 11 a.m. I do second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes should have it, the nay should remain until tomorrow, 11 a.m. Thank you.